every one of you coming in person to attend today. We want to thank everyone watching virtually from their homes as well. Another quick shout out, I'd like to give a shout out to Cameron Noble and the B Camera team who are recording and allowing everyone to see from home. And I want to thank St. George's for hosting this wonderful event here tonight. Today is about these women right here. It's about their journeys, their roles, and how they've grown their careers to where they are today. And hopefully that we can set the example to everyone else to learn from you and follow your career paths and know that everything is possible. So with that, I'd like to give the microphone over to Sarah to do the introductions.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good evening. It's so nice to see all of you guys in the audience. And I am super excited to be the moderator for Women in Tech panel series sponsored by Titan. Super exciting. I think it's a privilege for me to be here today amongst all of you in this esteemed panel. It's a very important topic in terms of women shaping technology. And I want to start off by introducing our amazing panel. So I have to the left of me, Eugene. Eugene is a former CIO of Element Fleet, Sunwing Travel, and Best Buy Canada. And then I have Asha, who is right next to me, Nainen. We learned her last name right before this session. She's the partner of technology and transformation. She's in the executive Women in Tech for Deloitte Canada. And then I have the beautiful Elaine Marine, and I know I've not said your last name correctly.
It's perfect.
She's the founder of Nordia Consulting, strategic advisor, data, and AI investment. So with that said, let's kick things off, shall we? Let's talk about the journey itself. As tech leaders, you've all navigated unique paths. Our audience is keen to understand what it takes to rise through the ranks. So let's start with a broad question, shall we? What was a key turning point in your career journey that helped you become a leader in the tech industry? I want to hear from everyone, and let's start over with Eugene.
Like for me, I feel like as a leader, always is journey. Oh, this one. Being a leader is a journey. It's really, there's no quick one big leap. You have to demonstrate your capability, and then mostly you have desire to be a leader. And you set your credibility and move on in your journey in the different level of leaders. For particularly from one of my experience will be one time at the Four Seasons Hotel, I was head of IT for a period of time. I was so excited with my team. We created IT strategy and the roadmap, which organization never had before. We spent 6 months to 7 months create one, present to our executive committee. We feel so proud of our work. They all look around and said, very comprehensive, good, but they didn't get it. Then I'm thinking, oh my God, all our effort, where did it go? Then very quickly, they have a business transformation workshop. Where we're going for business for next few years as a global organization. Then IT was not invited. Then I went there, so how come you do not invite me? Oh, don't worry, Eugene. We talk about business first. After we discuss what it is, then we let you know. Then I said, okay, I was stunned. Then a day later, I got a phone call with all the workshops. Eugene, can you come to our workshop? We start realize without technology, we cannot move anywhere. I said, okay, finally you remember us. So I joined the workshop, listened to them, discuss with them, understand their pain, where they're going. The good thing is we already have a technology strategy, which they did not understand earlier. Now we work with them, created, joined business technology together for our journey and the roadmap. From that, what I learned is, if you truly become IT leader, you cannot only focus on technology. You have to work with the business. Technology strategy actually is business strategy. When you really combine the business technologies together, then you're a true leader in the IT.
I love that. Thank you, Eugene. I totally agree that tech is a capability that solves business challenges. So it does start with the business problem or the business opportunity. Over to you, Asha.
All right. So I didn't have any ambitions of becoming an IT leader. I graduated with a business degree and then I did an MBA. And then I was hired into consulting in an SAP practice. And they said, guess what? You're going to learn how to code. And I was like, I hadn't done any computer science, nothing. But I actually quickly fell in love with solving problems. And so I agree, like it needs to be about the business, and technology can serve so many purposes within the business. And so that was one of the, one of the turning points for me. I think the other thing that I have really enjoyed about my career in tech is the team, working together as a team. So when you work on these big transformation projects, you're shoulder to shoulder, you're in the trenches together. Those are some of the best friends I've ever made. Those were some of the best growth opportunities that I had. And I think, and lastly, I think for me, the continuous challenge that IT brings. So, I'm dating myself, but like I was there for Y2K, then we went through the blockchain era, trying to figure out how do we use that. Now we're talking about Gen AI and agentic AI. And I was just talking to Wasim about AI native ERPs. Like it's constantly changing. And I love that opportunity to always be learning, always be growing, and trying to stay on top of things. I enjoy that challenge.
Love that, Asha. Over to you, Elaine.
Yeah. For me, my journey really didn't start in IT. It started in finance and merger and acquisition. And I was, having like lots of skills in that area. And Microsoft decided to make an acquisition and they needed someone to run the integration of that business. It happened to be like the AI lab for Microsoft Research in Montreal. So I was put in that situation where I had to learn AI and prior to the big hype that we're experiencing. And this is how I learned AI. And I took advantage of this great opportunity, with the colleagues that were accessible to me. I was able to ask questions and learn from there. And 5 years later, I was able to continue in that journey because I do love it. And to your point, Aisha, it's true that the community and the culture in IT, it's very special. It's not like in finance, it's different. And it's this mindset of trying to fix a problem and not always looking just for financial perspective, but also like trying to really help clients. That really gets me, and I want to continue there.
Thank you, Elaine. I love that. Thanks for the answers, ladies. So we touched a little bit about how technology is changing, and it's sort of moving at the speed of, we have seen so much different change just in the term of AI. AI is not a new thing. And I want to sort of touch on the tech landscape and how it's constantly evolving. As women leaders, navigating this can present unique challenges. Let's dig into that. What is the most significant challenge you've overcome in your career, and what advice would you give to women who are facing similar hurdles today? Let's start with Elaine, and then we'll move over to Eugene.
For me, coming from the financial background, when I joined Microsoft Research, it wasn't going well. I was not connecting with people. I was a woman, mostly male. I had no, common conversation with them because I didn't know how to code. I didn't know what was an algorithm really. My stats classes were very far. And I was making jokes. They were not laughing. I was trying to conduct meeting. They were not buying in. So all that I had learned so far was not being useful. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do? Right? So I started to, talk with friends about what was happening. And all of a sudden, someone said, look, do you understand that you're in an environment where there's lots of neurodiversity? I'm like, what? What is that? And then I started to, with that information, I went back to my boss. And she said, oh, yeah, we're a bunch of folks with perspective totally shift like my approach in this lab, because now I knew how to connect and to communicate with them. And me, that I had like a lot of experience when I joined Microsoft. I was not like new, and I thought that I knew, but I didn't. So learning that culture was very beneficial, and this is how I, overcome that challenges. And I'm still in IT, and after all these years.
That's amazing. Eugene?
I have a very similar experience as you had in my early career. And when in the IT department, I was the only woman. And with a philosophy degree, not in technology, and in the IT, come to the meeting, all the vendors come all male, and IT is all male. I'm sitting there in the meeting, I want to share my thought. The confidence was not there. I feel they're so smart, everyone. I'm not a tech person. But when I raise my voice, very humbly say, this is my opinion, overwhelmed, disappeared by other noises in the room. So in that situation, it's a learning curve for me. If I do not share my thought, then what's my value? So I have to build the confidence for many things. Trust yourself. Although you are not from computer science degree, but you learned, you have knowledge. Although English is your not first language, but you're able to connect, understand the business, be confident, share your thought. That is a learning journey for me, but become very important. From then to now, if I talk to my colleague, I say, Eugene is very shy. They're all laughing. That is a learning for last 20 years. From shy, introvert, not confident as of today, able to share my thought and debate with the people. That is working experience and the challenge to conquer. I just want to add one more thing. As women come to technology as a leader, I think one thing most challenge is work-life balance. Not work-life balance. Balance between the leader in the technology, you're also mom for your children, you're also wife for your husband. How you balance that? It has been challenged. From my experience is, have a very supportive spouse, and my husband really supported me, really making my life easy, and understand your role and your contribution. Try to spend time with your children, provide care and love. It is a very important reward.
That's great advice. I do agree that when you're in a room full of, it's still a male-dominated industry, right? IT. And I think it's important to kind of have your voice heard and show up. And what I see just in my role is that that question that we're taught when we're little kids, why? How many kids do we have that always ask, why this, why that? I think that question is really important, and it becomes more and more important as you kind of like move your way up to the top to kind of question and challenge the executives on why we're doing what we're doing and what are we trying to solve. So I want to sort of move over into a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and it's innovation. I love innovation. If you know me, I'm a nerd for technology and for science. I studied neurology in school, and the rest is history. So innovation is the lifeblood of our industry. It's not just about technology, it's about the people and the culture. A critical part of a leader's role is to create an environment where innovation can thrive. How do you foster a culture of innovation within your teams and across your organization? And we're going to start off with Eugene, and then we'll move over to Asha.
Innovation is such a nice word, make us excited. Come to reality. You need to deliver a project, you need support, you have the network issues, you have a project depend on you. Where do you find time for innovation? But if you do not do innovation, how can you move forward? How can empower our younger generation technology team in our company feel motivated, have new ideas? So it has been challenged. I think number one innovation in my previous company is we always try to innovate to solve a problem, is business focused. So one of the example we did innovation is when I was in Best Buy Canada. They really organize for e-commerce IT, we have for the hackathon. And we have different teams every quarter team self-organized, bring your ideas, present to the committee. Then we vote. Then we allow to give them time and a certain small budget to try create a pilot to see how bring the business value, what's the outcome will be. Actually, that activity, we can see sparkling from our employees. They were much more excited during the projects. They're proud of what they're showing us. So each year, we do identify 4 or 5 new innovative projects for them to do, and which is usually if you do 4 to 5, one of them can be a successful project. But at least build a culture, motivate the people, and the business can get value for it.
That's great. Asha.
So I've had the privilege of standing up an innovation lab in previous career, and I think there was a lot of great ideas in terms of how we built that up. But when I think about creating a culture of innovation on my team or in my surrounding group, I think it really comes down to creating that psychological safety. So making people feel like they can share their ideas, that they have something to contribute, that they're valued. And I think a key to that is diversity and inclusion. So they say that there's an expression that diversity is being invited to the dance and inclusion is being asked to dance. And so the concept is, how do you actually get people to contribute their ideas? I've been in diverse teams before, but it's the same 2 people who always have the ideas and push their thoughts forward. So how do you actually draw those other folks in to invite their ideas? And I think the other thing that's so important around innovation is that I like that idea of, you pick 4 or 5 and maybe one of them goes, but you have to pick a few and you're going to fail on a few. And that's just the way that it works with innovation. And there has to be that environment that it's okay to fail, because that's how we're going to learn. Fail fast, learn and grow.
I love that. Failure was something that was really scary for me when I was standing up innovation over at Loblaw. And I sort of was the evangelist of innovation and strategy. And as I sort of made my way through the company, I had like a board, I remember, in my innovation lab, and it was called the failure board. And I listed all the POCs that we failed, because when you fail, what does that ultimately mean? That you're trying, right? Like you're trying to find one golden nugget, and that's sometimes all it takes. So I want to kind of dabble in mentorship. Like we've all kind of started from somewhere. And I remember when I started in tech, I wasn't in tech. I didn't study tech. I don't know how to write code. I studied neuroscience. I wanted to be a doctor. And my first gig was in a financial institution. And I sort of had an amazing, amazing boss who also became a mentor. I still talk to him to this day. And there, I think I could probably count on one hand those folks that have stood out for me. So I want to sort of dabble in mentorship and talk about how it's often cited that it's crucial for career growth, particularly for women in tech. They provide not just guidance, but also crucial network of support. Can you share a specific example of how mentor or sponsorship impacted your career? And what role do you play now in supporting the next generation of female leaders? I'm going to pass it over to Elaine, and then we'll move over to Eugene.
Yes, so mentors, it's so important. And I would broaden the definition of mentors of, I would say also a network. You need to have ally in the room. I think if I'm here today, it's because I've had like a network of people that, saw something in me and helped me in some ways. And everybody, like the bigger your network, the bigger you have like sounding boards, to help you and guide you in direction. And some people see something in you that you don't even see, some others see other things. So it's very good, it's very inspiring. So it's important to nurture that and to take time, in your busy agenda to be intentional about like setting up a coffee, a meeting, a lunch with your network. That being said, in the business, let's say I'll take Microsoft again, like I had a mentor, and this person was like instrumental in helping me see a different side of what I can bring, what kind of impact I can bring to a corporation. And that person like steered me into the consulting business. And that person was right. Yeah, I'm here today to, to testify to that. And in terms of like me, when I was managing people, for me it was super important to, have not guide the person, but guide the person with their question. Not tell them what to do and give them advice, but really take the time first to know them and asking them, to reflect on themselves, and then after, like, come up with questions that they can ponder and, reflect on in order. So, and I think it's great. Like, I'm happy to have helped her to achieve that.
That's great. I think it's important to sometimes, ask for what kind of training budget do you have. I think every company has that, and often people fail to like ask for that. And it's there, and it's for you to grow. Like it's enabling you to grow in your career. So that's great. Eugene?
I think for every person in your career journey, especially for young people start for career development, the mentor is very important. You don't need to say, you're my mentor. Getting advice for someone near you, have more experience, guiding you means a lot. The one most important mentor I experienced in my career is my direct boss. Not only one, each organization, I couldn't say all organizations, but most organizations, like, have a great relationship with the direct boss, who can see how you perform, who can see your potential, who can see your weakness. That person can really mentor you, give you guidance for your career development. Give one example. I was consultant in the early stage. I went to my boss. I said, I really want training. He said, sure. What do you want to do? Because I was only 27, 28, I never thought there are two different paths. I just want to learn something. Make me think, do I want to grow in the people leadership side or technology side? Later, when I was in the Four Seasons, I was very fortunate. I had a great boss. The person continued pushing me, give me different opportunities, guiding me. That gave me growth. Then I went to retail, completely different industry. Then my boss say, you have to adjust in retail environment. You have to do this, this, this. You have to interact with the business leader, driving the retail progress. All mentor advice I received really helped me grow from people leadership side, from business relationship, from technology, business knowledge overall means a lot. So I think finding mentor in the different level, in your career different level, and also engage with them, take advice moving forward is a key critical success factor.
That's great. What I will add is, in addition to, there's this misconception of having mentors or coaches that are above or above you in terms of like giving you that guidance. I think it's equally important to look at it horizontally as well. And just in my networking in the last like many years, and especially in the more recent, I've definitely talked to leaders who are at the similar level in different industries, and allows me to sort of keep on top of industry trends and sort of understand what they're doing in their company. And it makes me a little bit more successful as I think about data or analytics or AI and the future of tech in general. So I want to sort of turn over and talk about success and defining success. Let's talk about success in a fast-paced industry. The definition of success can shift. It's not always about promotions or titles. I'd love to hear your personal definition of success as a leader in tech and how it's evolved over time. So let's start with Asha, and then we'll move over to Eugene.
All right, so yeah, it's definitely been a progression, my definition of success. I think I've always tied, like professional success and the success of the technology department to business success, because like I think we all agree, it's not about technology just for technology's sake. It's about how are we growing the business and making it more successful and making employees more engaged and that sort of thing. But I think there's two more elements in my definition of success that have changed over the years. And one of them is how much am I empowering and growing the people around me? And now I've had the opportunity to see some people that, I had on my team rise into executive positions. And it's just so cool to have been a part of their story in some small way. There's this expression, you can't be what you haven't seen, or something like that. And I think that's a big part of it for me too, being able to work with younger women, women of color, women who maybe haven't seen the reflection of women in technology. Certainly the landscape has changed from when I started in tech. And then the last element of success for sure for me is how I am balancing my personal life, how I'm taking care of my own health, how I'm taking care of my family, my friends. I haven't always gotten the balance right. It's a tricky thing as a woman in a fast-paced career. But now these things are non-negotiable to me. So your company will have many tech executives. Your kids will only have one mom. And so that should help kind of prioritize, those certain things in life. And as I get older and I see like folks who are having health challenges or challenges with their families because maybe they didn't take care of themselves as they should have during the course of their career, it makes you realize that these things really should be non-negotiable. And you can have a great career and still figure out how to balance these other things.
Very well said. I think as women in tech, we often try to do even more than the average person just because we want to show up and we want to sort of prove ourselves. So everything. Eugene.
I think the success measurement for me is changing year over year. In my early stage, my success will be, did I deliver project on time? Did I satisfy customer? I was software developer. Did I develop solution they like? So if I done everything, I'm successful. I set in early stage or all along, I set goal every 3 years. I want to achieve something in 3 years. I never thought I would be CIO. I just knew I came from technology. I need to grow somewhere. So I give my every 3 years set of a goal, then I achieve the goal in 3 years. I feel I'm quite successful. And try hard, set another goal for another 3 years, keep going. So that is the early stage. Then you come to leaders going forward. It's not about yourself anymore. It's about the team working together, deliver everything together, make a much bigger contribution. The success is not about me, it's about the team. How can a team, as one department head or one of division head, how can you be successful? With that, we come to a lot of sleepless night and frustration because you care about the people, team, delivery, partnership comes a lot. With that teamwork for me, if right now, when I recall, how do I feel success? Actually, the impact you did to the team. For people who report to me, and right now they become CIO, although their contribution, their effort means a lot, but I feel so proud because we work together. One person spoke to me, say, Eugene, you have extremely high standard. I have all the bosses, but your standard is highest. I said, if you can meet my standard, you'll be CIO outside. He is CIO right now. so then I push people, but at the same time, I give the opportunity, empower them. We have a few colleagues here. You can hear clear conversation, I said. In 3 years, you should not be in this position. You should be VP. In 3 years, you should be CIO. I push people, give them opportunity, empower them. that has huge impact because when you push people, when we give them opportunity, they return have much powerful outcome in their current job, and they got motivated. Then their career progression. When I come to with several years as CIO, coming back thinking, who and who right now is CIO? I'm part of the person's career journey. I feel so proud and feel so successful. Another part I want to mention is, as an immigrant, I have strong empathy or sympathy for people who came to Canada, there's no job experience. First job is the most hard. So when I work at the Four Seasons Hotel, one of the search firm came to me and say, Eugene, there's one gentleman came from Sri Lanka, never had opportunity in Canada. First job is so hard. Can we help? I said, sure. I helped someone who have no idea who he is, came us, worked for 6 months, then work in the bank. The person have a nice job. I feel fully fulfilled. And as a human being, as a leader, give everyone opportunity for success in new country, in the technology area. That I will measure as a success.
I love that, Eugene. What's that saying? Empowered women empower women, right? That's amazing. Thank you guys for those answers. So the past few years have accelerated the pace of digital transformation and highlighted the importance of resilient leadership. We've seen a shift towards more empathetic, adaptive leadership styles. In a constantly changing environment, what is the one leadership quality you find most essential for navigating uncertainty and driving your team forward? I want to hear from Elaine, Eugene, and Asha, all three of you guys. Let's start with Elaine.
I think you touched based on that already, but as a leader, you need to provide clarity and alignment, right? And in uncertainty, it's not easy. So how do you get, to do that? It's to bring as many perspectives as possible, to the table. So how do you do that? You try to create a safe space where people are comfortable to express themselves and to challenge you, even if you're the boss, right? Or to challenge a colleague that might be more experienced. So as a leader, it's important to foster that culture and to be the guardian of that. Because if, as a leader, I'm not doing that job, like nobody else gonna do it on the team. That falls on me, the leader, to establish that environment and that, place where people are safe to talk. Now, that doesn't mean that it's in a meeting that people will express themselves. Some are better at doing it at a meeting. I personally, not good. I prefer to have a one-on-one conversation. I feel more comfortable. You get the most out of me, like in a one-on-one conversation. Others, it's by emails. So whatever the form of communication, I think as a leader, you need to be aware of that, and you need to reach out to people in their favorite ways of communication. So that's, for me, one of the most important thing. And the other piece also that I find super important as a leader and a manager is you need to be clear on the person you're recruiting. You need to understand what are the key, qualities or abilities, skills that the person needs to have. It needs to go beyond the tech skills, but having an open mindset is very important. And you also need to be, I feel like I have a responsibility and a duty to make sure that the people in the team also share that open mindset and to take the appropriate decision also if it's not a fit. Because when you have someone that is underperforming and sometimes as a manager, you only see the tip of the iceberg. But when you see something that is wrong, it's really my responsibility as a manager to look and to dig deeper and to ask questions to make sure that this person is not having a negative impact on the rest of the team. So that's it.
That's great. Thanks for that. Over to you, Asha.
So I think that creating that trusted relationship with your team as a leader has to be a critical element when you're dealing with so much uncertainty. And what a good example with COVID, right? So in those early weeks of COVID, I was leading a large strategy division at the time, and I couldn't give them a lot of clarity because nobody knew what was going on. You know, we were like, oh, we'll be back in the office in 2 weeks. You know, and like years later, we're still working remote. But the way that I think I was able to establish trust was by really listening. And I think this is such a lost art. I think we don't really listen anymore. You know, I'm listening to you, but I already think I know what you're going to say. So I'm just listening for that. And so what I did is I set up 10-minute calls with everybody in the division. I just wanted to understand what they were going through because I was having a tough time myself. I had 2 teenagers at home. They were feeling socially isolated. It was a very difficult time for my family. And I was just trying to understand what other people were going through. So I heard stories about, you know, moms and dads who were trying to figure out what to do with their kids with childcare. You know, people on my team who had chronic illnesses that they disguised them so well, but you know, with a pandemic, it brought out a lot of anxieties. And so I wasn't able to really solve their problem, but I was able to really listen, and I was able to take that information to the executive table when we were making decisions on policies and what was going to happen next and how we were going to support employees. And so I think, you know, creating that trusted relationship is the thing that's going to get you through those uncertain times.
Eugene?
I really support your idea about listening and with empathy. No one like ambiguity situations, but we always experience that in different stage, different situation. So empathy, people just want to be listened, their frustration, their concern. You may not have and set a certain direction means a lot. I want to share one of the story. I created ambiguity situation and caused a lot of concern and what I learned from that journey. That's happened when I was in Best Buy. We heavily implement Agile Scrum initiative. From waterfall structured organization, suddenly changing Agile is huge culture shock. People doesn't know what does Agile mean from hierarchy structure right now, so we don't need the middle level managers, directors, all flat, we all equal. People say, what does that mean? As a CIO, I want to drive in very fast. I do have few leaders, did Agile transformation before, become a right-handed person, we're moving very fast. Half of our team have no clue what does Agile mean, but they want to move fast, we moved. Then those people have no idea what does it mean, what's impact their job, what does Agile really means, become our bottleneck. It's not they want to be bottleneck, they just don't know what's going on. So finally, we did implement Agile transformation. We have Scrum team, we completely break our organization structure, but then we do have few employees left out. After finish it, I recall myself, why did not I slow down a little bit? Why did not I listen to them, say, what's your concern? Give them more opportunity for training, understanding, give more clear pictures, say, even when we do Agile, you still have your role. So that is, as a leader, when I put people in the ambiguity situation, after finish I learned, you don't need to go very fast. Take time. When people along with you, the momentum, which is much more powerful, outcome is much more strong. It's not speed, it's bring people along with you, have a clear direction, and have one force moving forward. So that is I want to share with you, I, as a person, caused the ambiguity situation and the lesson learned, listening and bring people together.
That's great advice because often, you know, we gotta sort of slow down to go fast, right? So I love that you said that, Eugene. That's wonderful. So we're on our last question because I think we're close to time. And as we wrap up, I'd like to end on a forward-looking note. Looking at the next 5 to 10 years, what is one major trend or technology shift you believe will have the most profound impact on the tech industry, and how should aspiring women leaders prepare for it? I want to hear from everyone, and we're going to start from this end. Elaine.
Yes. Well, I'll let you. Yes. What do you think it's going to be? Yeah, okay. So AI. So yes, I think AI is going to be not just a fad, but it's going to be true, and it's happening. It means that people, well, organization will transform the way it works, like so far. Nothing new right here. But I do think that there will be layoff resulting from that. And in order to navigate through that, like you'll be, like my best advice would be like, you need to learn, continue to learn, learn how to use these tools to your advantage. And also like be prepared maybe to think about another career. I think more than ever, it's time to think about your values, what do you like to do in life, where do you want to spend your time? Because like, you might have like more than one career, and the career path that you set for yourself now, it might not happen like you planned. So this is definitely like the biggest trend. Yeah, I think you'll need to maneuver.
Amazing. Asha.
So Sarah was kind enough to give us this question ahead of time, so I threw it in ChatGPT, and guess what ChatGPT said? AI. And I do agree, and I agree that we need to be prepared, but I think the conversations that we need to be having are about the fact that there will be entire roles and levels that are eliminated or vastly changed. So how do we grow people? How do we take people from those junior levels and actually teach them leadership skills? And how do we, inject humanity into our work when we're going to be, plugging questions into ChatGPT and other tools? So I think it's definitely table stakes that we need to stay on top of this as leaders in tech. But I think we need to really start thinking about how it's going to change work and how we're going to support our teams. And I think as women, we're uniquely positioned, right? I think that the research shows that, we tend to be more empathetic, collaborative. We find ways to make connections. And so I think that we're in an exciting position to actually make some strides and sort of write what the future is going to look like for the workforce.
Eugene?
I did the same thing like her, went to ChatGPT. AI comes all along. I think it is very clear AI is not only software tools, will be part of our life. Then I sometimes joke, with AI, with everything, I don't need to cook. I have someone I can talk to. It's really changing our life. It's not only technology. Every single department, like marketing, sales, everywhere will be impacted. Then as with today's session is about the leaders in technology. So what's the impact of technology? I think we have to adopt change. Doesn't matter is woman, male, female, we all need to learn what change comes in. And maybe we should be more business oriented because AI can write the program. The one-week program minutes code all came out. But we become more business connected technology people. We're more like a conductor. You have AI creating the purchasing, you have everything. I will be connected with all the business flow together, bring business value. So you always able to find the way, opportunity, you can bring your value to support the business growth. When you look in the back, maybe you get too young. In my age, when I was in school using typewriter, then become computer, we never had the LAN, then we never had the network, Wi-Fi, nothing. And then become social media. Think about in the last 20 years, how much change we experienced from technology, from typewriter as we're today. Now we're all with the phone every single minute as our best friends, more important than your spouse. But in the future, AI will be part of our life. So I think we just look into it, continue to learn it, and find opportunity for yourself, business focus, and bring the value to organization and to ourselves.
Those are great points, leaders. And I just want to sort of add on the AI point. AI has been around since the 1950s, right? And it's sort of been changing, and it's a concept, and there's subsets. Machine learning was around, then it went to deep science and deep networking and neural networks, and now we're in the LLM and agentic AI. So it's constantly evolving, and I think we as leaders need to figure out what does that mean. Processes need to change. Humans need to be in the loop. So while jobs are being eliminated, roles are being eliminated, new ones are sort of forming. So I would encourage everyone to sort of think about like how you're going to contribute to AI and, you know, the next big thing that's coming. Thank you, panelists, for this amazing session today, and everyone in the audience and everyone online. I want to sort of turn it over to questions from the audience and online, and I'm going to pass it over to Luke to take the lead.
Wow. First of all, thank you, all four of you. I think that's very inspiring. I think a common theme that I put together from today was it's not about yourselves. You've talked about your team and how you're empowering everybody that's around you. And I think the quote that I always use is, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. We should be doing twice as much listening as speaking. And I think that's lost today. And that's probably why the four of you have such illustrious careers and such phenomenal leads, is that it's all about the team around you.
I'm gonna take that home, Luke. I'm gonna say that.
I got that from a book. So with that being said, I'm sure I have a million questions. I'm sure the audience has a million questions. We're going to start with the local audience. I'm going to pass this microphone around. I know we don't have time for every question, but if there's anyone who wants to ask a question, just raise your hand and I'll quickly bring the microphone to you, and that way the audience at home can also hear the question. So I'll leave the floor to you guys. Are there any questions, whether for the whole group or just specifically to an individual?
Ask ChatGPT.
Okay. Any questions? Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Scott. Lauren and I are here from a startup a little bit smaller than all of the big companies that you guys work with. We're here with Bounce. And question that I have, we're rapidly hiring for a lot of junior team members and a lot of leaders. All of you, based on your very impressive backgrounds, clearly done a masterful job at hiring team members that also champion equality and the importance of diversity and inclusion. When you're screening candidates across all ranks, how do you evaluate for those qualities and make sure that they're going to positively contribute to diversity and inclusion on your teams?
Well, you need to be clear on what you're looking for. And you also need to be clear on what's your culture. I think, yeah, because I see a lot of initiatives of people or organizations that are trying to be inclusive and diverse, but they're not, right? It's just for being there. So what are you truly doing? I think it's a good question. And then after, like once it's clear, it's easier to, find that in the person you're screening. But definitely there are some, I find probably like women are undervalued, I think so. Most of the time women do not have the same level of network and sometimes they cannot reach their full potential. I have a slight bias, I have to say, for women. And also like people that are new in Canada or they come from immigration. I find sometimes you have like great candidate there. It's just because they're not fitting the traditional profile. They're being overlooked, but they're great, right? So that's how I would go about it. I don't know if it helps.
And I'll add something in there. So I think with diversity, it's not just about gender or your ethnicity or your nationality. I think it's also diversity of thought. So I remember when I was leading some of the practices in my previous days, for me it wasn't like I was leading technology. So it's not just about those that write code. I brought in a leader that was marketing. And I remember my CTO at the time was like, Sarah, what the F are you doing? Why is this person who is in marketing, specifically, he said a wine expert, because she had the sommelier or whatever, I can never pronounce that. And I said, it's not about that. It's about like, having diversity of thought and being able to complement each other. So I have the introvert that's very technically charged, but then I have this marketing expert that's able to campaign and negotiate and persuade the stakeholders that, hey, you need to be thinking about it this way, not that way.
Any other questions?
Hey, how's it going? Thank you so much, first and foremost, for everything today. I guess my biggest question is, we go through life and there's ups and downs, and you learn, you make mistakes, but what advice can you give for, when you make a mistake, not to get discouraged by that, or just kind of have confidence in yourself that you're still navigating life accordingly? And is it trusting like your instincts? Is it that desire to succeed, which you talked about? Is it a number of different things? Like, how do you really, take yourself, out of a rut sometimes, and then know that you can still ascend to where you want to be?
So I would suggest with every, failure or downturn, you really question, what am I supposed to learn from this? Like, what's my key takeaway from this situation? And I think that can really change the narrative in your own head. I had a leader once who stood up in front of the entire organization and he gave a speech about my 3 biggest failures. And they were big. They were like bad hirings or bad projects. But his point was all the learnings and the growth he had in his career through these failures. And so I think also surrounding yourself with people who think like that, right? Who understand that in these kinds of jobs, in this kind of world, we will have failures, and it's about learning from it and moving on to the next thing.
For young people, I would love you have a mistake, you have failures, because you have opportunity to learn, to grow further. So when I have 2 sons, I each tell them, take a risk. You have a power right now, become failure. Then you can stand up again and to know where you're going, what you learn from it, as she said. So we all learn from our mistake. I make a mistake too, but then that I learned, how can I change myself? It's a good thing. If you do not make any mistake, which means you're very cautious, you're not a risk taker. You have to take a certain risk in your life, in your career progression.
And we do have a question from the audience at home. So the question is, how do you approach mentoring or sponsoring other women in the field? If someone is looking to get a mentor, how do you find someone?
So, I mean, in a lot of organizations, there are formal programs, but I would just say ask. Like, find someone that you respect, their leadership style or something about them, and just ask. Most women, they're excited to mentor and to share their knowledge. And, as much as possible, in the mentorship I do, it's career advice, and they come with a difficult problem and we talk through it. And I learn just as much from them as they're learning from me, for sure. But I think also finding those opportunities to work shoulder to shoulder with the people that you respect. I feel like that's how I had my greatest growth. People who are generous with praise, but also not shy to give me the criticism. And I knew that they had my back, right? And so we could work through problems together. And I knew I never shied away from the criticism because I knew that they were trying to make me better.
And I'll add something to that. So for me, it's kind of like, as I've kind of grown in my leadership role, I sort of have an open door policy. So for me, it's kind of like I always go out of my way to not just talk to my direct reports, but also their teams. When I have town halls, I sort of invite them and encourage them to talk to me. It's so important to kind of put yourself out there and like sort of break down the fear. We've all sort of been there. We started at some point and we were scared of the leaders above us. And I think the world is sort of changing, and you should trust your gut and you should go after what you want.
And if it helps, just to go, it's like most of us we love to ask questions and meet people. It's something that is fun to do, right? It's not a duty. It's just cool. Mm-hmm. So we're flattered when someone asks us, to be a mentor. So actually, and if they can just shoot an email and say, hey, can we connect for, 15 minutes, or I'd like to be, so this is the how to do it. Don't be shy to do it.
Awesome. We do have a question here, yeah.
Great panel, by the way. Lori Beta, founder of LXL Women's Empowerment Platform and ex-CDAO at BMO. Question is, what, if you had one bit of advice, it's a rapid fire question quickly, for women to excel in STEM, what is one thing employers need to do differently?
That's a really good question.
I think employers need to expand what they're looking for, right? So I think that there's some stat about women will only apply for a job when they can tick every box, where a man it'll be 60%, or I don't know exactly the number. So we need to expand what we're looking for, right? And the skill sets that we're looking for in order to encourage more women in STEM.
I think they need to hire more women. I think the group effect will help, attract more. I think they need to take more risk on women.
In mind, say, I would like to hire a female because to diversify, because all my direct report are male, so to balance out. I could not receive any CVs with that qualification came to me. Then I said, what's going on? Woman, be confident, apply. But that is also, as a woman, we have to drive our own destination. Don't think you're perfect and apply for a job. Try it. And the opportunity will be there.
And what we've done in the past is we've sort of partnered with academia and other institutions to sort of bring women in STEM and also talk about it. I think not talking about it is a disservice to most organizations and most companies. So we just got to be vocal about it and take every social media platform that's out there and use it to its capabilities.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank the four of you again, and I want to thank everyone in attendance, and I want to thank the virtual audience today for participating in the first ever Titan Consulting Women in Leadership Technology panel. So big round of applause for the four wonderful ladies. And
I have one request. Can I have a selfie with all of you, like right now, live? Can I do that? Yeah? Okay. Let me grab my phone. Where's my purse? Oh, it all got moved over here. Oh, I can give you my phone. Yes.